DJ the media team. All right, this is it, I suppose.
Sweet.
Episode 0 of the ZeroW podcast.
Nice.
Episode 0 meaning the first one, because it's going to be shit, because it's the intro. But here we are. Here we are. I guess I should introduce this thing because it's my podcast. I've just been thinking a lot about like how we can give back to the broader lifting community, the broader coaching community. And I like podcasts. I listen to podcasts. I have another podcast, Peak Speak. If you don't listen to that, check that out. But one of the things I can't get around with the whole podcast thing is that oftentimes they're really long and they go on like deep and wonderful journeys. I kind of just want to give short tidbits of information. So these are going to be 10 to 15 minute long episodes, maybe the occasional longer one if we ever do interviews and stuff like that. I've got with me here my man James. James is the manager here at Ground Zero. He's the boss. How long have you been here for?
About 15, 16 months.
15 or 16 months. Not a year and a half, folks. 15 or 16 months, just like a baby or a puppy dog. But yeah, James runs the show here and does an amazing job looking after everyone here. I think one of the coolest achievements that I can think of between us is the fact that, so James came from a background of never having coached anyone for lifting before, went through the whole Xero coach development thing as well as getting a little bit of extra help from me because we're here in person. And now I'd regard him up there as like a fantastic coach in the country. There's not a lot of people that could probably get the kind of transformations that you get out of people. So I think that's really cool.
Thanks. Yeah, really appreciate that. I think one thing that makes it a lot easier for me is that I've got really easy access to you. I get to see you every day. I get to pick your brain 5 days a week. We talk a lot outside of work as well, so it makes it a lot easier for me. But the coach development program is something that has pretty much just changed the way that I think about coaching, the way that I think about training, and how I apply the things that you teach into creating a system which makes it easier for myself to teach other people about lifting and training. Yeah,
that's really cool. That's really cool. I feel like we answered the first question.
Yeah, sweet. So the first question, what is the ZeroW podcast? We just answered it. Yeah, cool. So my next question for you, Thomas, is can you tell us a little bit about ZeroW and what it is and how did it start?
Well, James, I'm glad you asked. So ZeroW, so the branding has to be right. A lot of people say ZeroW. The branding is Xero with a W on the end, but it's silent. It's a play on words. It's really clever, in fact. ZeroW, Zero Weakness, is what that stands for. I wish I had a really cool name about how I came up with, a cool story about how I came up with the name, but really I was just kind of think of like what embodies like absolute strength. And I'm like, well, think of physics, what embodies absolute darkness, the absence of light. What's the absence of weakness? Zero weakness, that's absolute strength, right? So that's the namesake. I started off as PTC Gold Coast, so we had PTC Gold Coast here on the Gold Coast since 2012, and over those years, online coaching for me got really, really big. So I was coaching people all over Australia, New Zealand, and a few other countries, and it always felt weird getting them to represent my coaching or my brand by wearing like a PTC Gold Coast shirt when they've never been to the gym, probably never going to come to the gym. That always seemed a bit odd for me. So I sort of thought, well, I need to separate a brand to put, my online coaching services out there, and that's where ZeroW kind of came from. And then it made sense to put the entire business under one brand. So eventually I changed the name of the gym to Ground Zero, and then we've kind of grown from there. I have a second gym now in Brisbane, and another gym opening up in Mackay, and then a fourth gym opening before the end of the year. So that's what it is. And that's how it started. Really, what I see the vision of Zero Weakness being is kind of a collaboration of expert experience and coaching to guide anyone through their strength journey. That's kind of what I see it as. I could probably write that down better than I can say it, but yeah.
No, you answered that really well. My next question is, how long have you been lifting and how long have you been coaching?
I started lifting when I was 14 years old. I'm turning 32 this year. I had to think about that for a second. So I've been lifting for more than half of my life. I've been involved in the sport of powerlifting since I was 18. So this will be coming up on 13 or 14 years of doing the sport of powerlifting. In terms of coaching, I only started coaching when I opened the gym, which was the end of 2012. So I've only been coaching for 8 or 9 years.
Yeah, sweet. What are your coaching achievements? Have you got anything that stands out in particular?
Yeah, well, you're going to have to think about that. You took me by surprise there. I think the thing that's made my brand shine has been the kind of results that we've gotten out of people over the years. So I guess in terms of numbers, the kind of things that I'm really proud of, I've had well over 60 people do 300 kilo plus squats in competition, over 70 people do 300 kilo plus deadlifts in competition. My lifters have the biggest ever bench in Australia, the biggest ever deadlift in Australia. One of my lifters was the first lifter ever to squat 1,000 pounds and deadlift 900 pounds in the same meet. Since then, only one other person's done that. I've the lifter that has the biggest total in the world for a junior. I've got the first 2 females ever to go double bodyweight bench in competition. Lots of achievements like that have made me popular for who I am as a coach. But when you look at it in the bigger picture, it's more like what's been able to get those results. It's been this system that's been able to be applied along the spectrum of lifting experience to get people to the next level, regardless of whether they're brand new or these elite level lifters. So I think if I was to talk about my biggest coaching achievement, it would be creating this system that can be applied to any lifter to get them as strong as they can be.
That's awesome. So a lot of people know about Thomas Lilley, the coach. You're like we've already stated, you are a really highly regarded coach, but you're also a really good lifter. So what are some of your lifting achievements?
I don't know if I'd say I'm a really good lifter. I used to be okay back when there weren't as many good lifters in the country. My best raw lifts are a 345 kilo squat, a 200 kilo bench, and a 340 kilo deadlift. Best equipped lifts are 380 kilo squat, 250 kilo bench press, and 370 deadlift. In terms of competition performance, I've won a bunch of competitions like states, a few nationals wins, I think, definitely a few nationals wins. I've podiumed at Pro Roll before. That's probably one of a way that people can recognize, I guess, a level of lifting. Podiuming at Pro Roll was a big achievement for me back then. That's the only comp I've ever gone 3 times bodyweight squat, 2 times bodyweight bench, and 3 times bodyweight deadlift in the same comp. So that was a cool achievement.
Yeah, I feel like anyone that competes at Pro Raw is an elite level lifter, and that's definitely a high achievement in itself.
Yeah, and from a coaching perspective, I guess that's one thing I left off the list. I've had over 70 lifters compete at Pro Raw, and of those 70 entries, I've had 22 podium finishes.
That's awesome.
So quite a lot of people lifting at a high level, especially in Australia.
Just to add on to that, Pro Raw is also an invite-only comp.
Yeah.
So you can't actually qualify for it. You gotta, well, I guess you kind of can, but it's invite-only, so only the elite or the elite get invited to it. I've got one more question for you, Thomas. What's next for Xero?
Yeah, it's a good question. Everyone always asks me what the next gym is going to be, and to be honest, for context, Xero started off as one gym, and last year we opened the second gym. So I opened that with a guy called Daniel Carpenter in Brisbane, and then out of that I'm now opening a third gym in Mackay with Dean Ilgith and Khan Stevenson up there, and that's sort of translated into now opening a fourth gym, which I can't give too much about. So everyone's asking what's the next Xero gym, and to be honest, none of those gyms were planned. They've just been like the right people at the right time. So what's next in terms of gyms, I'm not sure. The plan isn't necessarily to keep opening gyms. If the right people come up, I will. For me, in terms of taking Xero and continuing to grow it, one of the biggest investments of my time and energy is going to be into education. So refining the coach development course as it is now. So currently we run a 12-month coach development course that teaches the system that's gotten the kind of results that we've gotten, refining that into a series of short courses as well as the current longer course as well, and continuing to build on the educational services that we offer. On top of that, we've now gone from just being me running Xero, both the gym and online, to now having you. We've got Lucy on staff, Daniel, Rochelle up there is on staff as well. We've now got Khan up in Mackay. Someone just knocked on the door.
Yeah, just keep going.
We've got Khan up in Mackay. So, continuing to grow the brand and hopefully creating job opportunities for people to grow our coaching staff and to continue to get the brand bigger and better. The main thing I want to focus on is this education, and I want to, I guess, span across a broader range of people, so different types of coaches, reach out to more just general PTs, other sports, that kind of thing, but also going more international, getting more exposure in other countries as well. So currently we are with coach development, we're in Australia, New Zealand, Dubai, Ireland, Wales, United Arab Emirates, USA, Canada. So I want to keep growing in all those places and get more out there. So I've got 2 educators coming on board with me. They're going to start taking groups relatively soon, and that means we can reach that international market a little bit more, because one big problem we have at the moment is just time zones.
Yeah,
so
nice.
That's kind of what's next for Xero.
That's awesome. I'm stoked to be part of the journey. That's pretty much it for episode 0 of the Xero podcast. Is there anything else you want to add?
Not really.
No. Make sure you're
listening.
Oh, sorry.
No, you go.
We're still raw. We're still new at this.
Yeah.
Make sure no, never mind. I'm not even going to say that.
What?
I was going to say make sure you're following us on all social media platforms.
That's probably how you found us. But do that. Do that. Follow Xero Weakness on Facebook, on Instagram. Head to the website zero.com.au. There you can see all the products and services that we offer. This is going to be on YouTube. You might even be watching this on YouTube. We're hoping to put out a lot more YouTube content, just content in general. It's one thing that I've notoriously been bad for. Everyone's always got bright ideas, but I never just follow through with them. So hopefully this is the start of a lot more of hearing from us and getting some information from us.
Yeah, I'm pumped.
Sweet.
Awesome.
Cool. Next time.
Thanks for listening. See you later.